An arrest warrant has been issued for Vladimir Putin. The International Criminal Court announced the unprecedented warrant over the Russian president's alleged involvement in the abduction of Ukrainian children and teenagers. A warrant was also issued for Russia's Children's Commissioner.
It is forbidden by international law for occupied powers to transfer civilians from the territory they live in to other territories. Children enjoy special protection under the Geneva Convention. This is an important moment in the process of justice before the ICC. The judges have reviewed the information and evidence submitted by the prosecutor and determined that there are credible allegations against these persons for the alleged crimes.
The arrest warrants represent some of the first international charges issued since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Yulia Kovaliv is Ukraine's ambassador to Canada. Ambassador, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
I'd like to start with your reaction to these two arrest warrants, most notably and specifically with the warrant for Vladimir Putin.
It's a crucial thing and the very first important step to really bring the justice for all of the Russian regime and Putin and his allies for all of the war crimes that they have been committing in Ukraine. And this is a very significant step because 123 countries who ratified the Rome Statute, these are the countries that actually, if Putin will ever try to visit them, they need to arrest Putin and bring him to justice. And it's also very important that this is the course of the case that have been built by prosecutors in ICC regarding the forceful deportation of Ukrainian children. Since the war started, Ukraine has been investigating over 16,000 criminal cases of the forceful deportation of children. Some of them have families in Ukraine. Some of them were just, spreading throughout Russia, very far away regions, depriving from their relatives. And for us as the government, it's very important to find these children and to punish Putin and his regime for trying to deprive Ukraine from the future. Because every child for us, it's so much importance, and it's also the future of our country. That's why our efforts are here in this specific case is first to try to get these children back. And we managed to get back 300 children already from Russian forceful deportation, but also bringing the justice. And this is not only for Ukraine. This is a very important signal for all of the worldwide leaders who ever thought to commit these war crimes, that despite of their position as the leaders of the country, despite that Russia was some time ago treated as a big and powerful country, their leaders could be brought to justice. And I would also emphasize and be grateful for Canadian support, because Canada from last year supported for over $2 million Canadian dollars for ICC, for them to be able to conduct the investigation, and specifically for the sexual violence crimes and for the crimes against children. So it is important, and we value this Canadian support on the track on bringing justice to this particular criminal case as well.
An important move to issue this warrant, but Russia's foreign ministry, you mentioned 123 countries that signed on to the Rome Statute. Russia is not one of them, and the foreign ministry said they don't recognize this. What do you think the chances actually are of getting Vladimir Putin, because he's probably not going to leave Russia while this is hanging over his head?
The chances are increasing every day with both enormous efforts of Ukraine to document the crimes, but also bringing them to the international institutions, including ICC, ICJ. And we are also working together with governments of our partners to establish the tribunal for crime of aggression for Putin and his regime. What is also important in this warrant today, that is not only against Putin, but it is also against Russian officials who are part of this illegal invasion and the war crimes against Ukraine. And this is a very important signal to all of the Russians and Russian elite who are a part of these crimes, that none of them will left unpunished.
So these warrants are based in large part, if not entirely, on this alleged war crime of the mass abduction of the Ukrainian children that you spoke about. 16,000 children taken to Russia and being used in propaganda, being placed in re-education camps. I know you're trying to get those children back. Do you hope these warrants might stop further abductions? Can it act as a deterrent for what Russia has been doing in your country?
I think yes, because this is the signal that not only for Putin and his allies inside Russia, but also for the broader people in Russia who are taking part in this forceful deportation, that we will bring each and every of them to justice. So this is something for everybody to understand, that if they are a part of these war crimes, they will be sitting in Hague.
These warrants come right after Poland and Slovakia have agreed to send MiG-29 fighter jets to Poland. How significant, to Ukraine, from Poland, excuse me. How significant are these donations of the fighter jets to the war effort in your country, and how much pressure does this put on the other allies to follow suit?
We are building another coalition, which is the fighter jet coalition, because we need to protect the sky. We need to be able to liberate our territory, which is occupied in Russia. And this criminal case also shows the importance of liberating the territories, because what is happening on those territories, it's forceful deportation of children. It's just erasing Ukrainian culture. So this is a very important tool for us to be able to further move on liberating our areas. And we have been talking with our partners regarding the supply and the support of Ukraine with the fighter jets. We have this good news from Poland, which broke the ice with 10 fighter jets of Mi-29 that will be in process actually to supporting Ukraine. We also value Slovak's decision to transfer to Ukraine another 13 fighter jets. But of course, F-16 and more advanced NATO standard fighter jets is just another important support in terms of the military for us to increase our capability and be also prepared to the counteroffensive. Because as we saw from the very first days of the war, Russia used air striking to Ukrainian infrastructure, striking on the civilian buildings and protecting the sky and be able to control the sky. This is the thing what we unfortunately had as a gap for almost 1 year. Now it's a part of the air defense which is coming to Ukraine, including Canada's NASAM, that the government of Canada made the decision to help us. But then the fighter jets is another important thing. And these first two decisions, it's very important for us to show that Ukraine need them, Ukraine will use them, but of course we count on a more broader coalition to supply fighter jets, and we count on NATO standard fighter jets.
The Polish ambassador was sitting right there last night, and he said he hopes this, not pressure, but persuades the other allies to come through with fighter jets of your own. Do you think this will help persuade them to do that quickly?
It will help. It will occur. The only thing is timing. And, the more these decisions are delayed, as we saw with the same coalition building around the NATO standard tanks, unfortunately, during this time when these decisions are discussing, we are losing many Ukrainians on the battlefield. These are the young men and women who bravely are fighting not only for Ukraine, but for protecting democracy and to showing example of how the country is resistant to protect itself. And the price of this time of delay is really very high for us.
Ambassador Kovaliv, thank you so much for coming in tonight.
Thank you.